Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Roisin and I am always right. Today I'm going to be talking about something interesting. Now, before I start, I hope you're very much liking the reef in the background. It's a bit of a departure from my usual jellyfish, but I kind of was struck with the idea that maybe people find jellyfish freaky. I don't. I love jellyfish. They're one of my favourite animals, but the way they move can be a little bit disconcerting. So I thought, you can't go wrong with a coral reef, you know what I mean? Also, before I start, I would like to apologise if you can hear any noise outside. The gain is all the way down on my microphone, so you shouldn't, but I do have my window open because it's hot, and I live right by a train line, so if you can hear any trains, I'm sorry, and if you can hear any beautiful bird song, I'm not sorry. I hope that's very nice for you. This video was originally going to be something else. I was planning to basically go through every hyperfixation I've ever had, or that I can remember, and rate them based on how cringe they were. But then I started thinking, damn, how do I even rate those? Because I don't think that was that cringe, and that wasn't that bad, and it was the vibe at the time. And then I realised, hang on, this is hypocritical. Now, me personally, I am a very strong believer in the fact that I think cringe culture should be dead. I think it died for a bit, it came back, and it should be dead again. I don't think anything is cringe. I'm a very strong advocate for the phrase, if it's not hurting anyone, who cares? So I think it would be massively hypocritical of me to rate my own interests, which I really loved at the time and still might love, based on the cringe meter. So instead I figured I would take it as a teaching lesson. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think cringe culture is so bad, why I think we need to kill it, and then I'm going to go through all of these interests and tell you a little bit about why I liked them at the time. I'm going to single-handedly get rid of cringe culture, and hopefully you might learn a little bit about me as well. Maybe some of my past interests, maybe some of the ones I have now, which is always good when making a YouTube channel, because I want you to like me. So let's begin. If you can hear seagulls, I apologise. I live absolutely nowhere near the ocean. Now, cringe culture, I would say, has been around for as long as the internet, maybe, probably before. But here's my question to you as an audience. Is it cringe, or are you bullying them? It's a good question. It kind of died out in maybe 2020. There was sort of a phase where everyone was like, cringe culture's dead. Like what you want to like. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And I was all for that. I was a strong advocate. I was like, yes, live your life, live your truth. And then it came back. And maybe I think that it came back because of the rise in popularity of TikTok. TikTok, believe it or not, used to be cringe. I had TikTok back when it was cringe. You had to hide it on your phone. But then it got popular and all the popular people got on it and cringe culture was back. And I find it boring. Are some of the TikTok comments of people slagging each other off funny? Yes, there's some real comedians in the comments there. But I see these TikToks and I'm like, damn, that person's just living their life. Why are you dogging on them? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you're not funny. You're not making me giggle. I can't lie. I just think we should all leave each other alone. I mean, honestly, truly. Oh my god, my hungry caterpillar fur. Now, we all find things cringe. We all see stuff on the internet and go, ooh, that was a tough watch. But where I think most people draw the line is commenting. I think most people go, ooh, tough watch. Maybe they'll send it to a friend privately. Maybe they'll just scroll. That's what I do. I don't know if I'm normal, but I would say that's what most people do. Where it becomes an issue, though, is when people feel the need to dog, and I mean just straight bully, really, people in the comments. Most of the time, they're not hurting anyone. Maybe what you find them doing is embarrassing. Maybe you think it's cringe. Maybe you think it's pathetic. Maybe you think, ooh, tough watch. But that doesn't mean that you need to voice that opinion with them. If they're not hurting anyone or if they're not doing anything wrong, just leave them alone. But, and here's where things get complicated. I haven't seen anybody else make this point before, but I was walking today and I thought, I think that's true. That's very profound of you, Roisin, so I'm going to share the thought with you. Whilst I think that there is, of course, something inherently wrong with people bullying each other on the internet for things that aren't that deep, just people enjoying what they want to enjoy, what I think is worse still than that is, and bear with me here, I think that cringe culture red pills people. I think cringe culture is part of a pipeline down the alt-right, and the youth are falling susceptible. Hear me out. So, it is very much the right-wing extremist agenda to be like, oh, these liberals and their weird quirks, they've got blue hair, they've got pronouns, ugh, that kind of thing, right? And the more that you get people dogging on things that they think is cringe, and alternative styles, alternative hobbies, alternative lifestyles, the more you disassociate yourselves with alternative groups of people who typically lean left. That means the more that you align yourself with the mainstream conservative, the more that the youth disalign themselves with things that are alternative or left-leaning or unique, the more they fall right down the pathway of the conservative mainline. You need a wife. Being gay, cringe. We don't want to be gay. You need a wife. You have societal normal gender roles. You have opinions on sexuality, and then that falls into racism, and then here we are, and suddenly you're listening to We Are Charlie Cook. Why'd I kind of hit that? Unironically. And that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. And you won't listen to me, but you know I'm right. So yeah, to wheel it back down really quick, I do believe that cringe culture not only inspires a society of bullying online, and people get mean on the internet. They really don't think that anybody is on the other end. But there is, obviously. I mean, it's the most cliche thing ever. The most secondary school assembly thing. But it's true. You are bullying a real person at the other end of the phone, and it's not nice. But not only that, it inspires people and pushes them down an alt-right pipeline. It red pills the youth, and more people are falling susceptible to it. The youth are taking in the cringe culture. They're thinking, ew, 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 cringe, cringe, cringe. And suddenly they fuck with Ben Shapiro. You know what I'm saying? And so with that truth exposed, I am now single-handedly going to tear down cringe culture. I'm going to go through every single one of my ADHD hyperfixations that I ever remember having, and I'm going to tell you why they weren't cringe, even though maybe I was bullied for them as a child. Maybe I'm bullied for them now. Let's go through, shall we? And you can learn a little bit about me, and maybe you'll think I'm cringe, but maybe you'll think I'm cool. Probably not. So, the first two hyperfixations I remember having as a child are things I've mentioned in a previous video, both My Little Pony and Littlest Pet Shop. These two are going to fall within the same umbrella because they were simultaneous and kind of linked. Now, this is something that I was bullied for. I was into these as late as year 7. Oh my god. I think that being a 12-year-old is a perfectly reasonable age to still be playing with toys. Call me crazy, but you are a child at 12. I don't know if I have any 12-year-olds watching thinking, I'm an adult, I know everything. No, you don't. And you should go play with your Go-Go's, like, do you know what I mean? Now, another one that I had, perhaps one of my most long-running, I think it lasted 4 or 5 years, were the Maze Runners. The Maze Runner books, the Maze Runner films. I was into that. This, I will not be cringed for. I don't think many people would find this cringy. Hey, I was a teenage girl, and I was liking some teen dystopia fiction. That is peak teenage behavior. Like, it's just, and Maze Runner's a good one. They run around, Dylan O'Brien's there, Thomas Brady Sachs are like, Key Hong Lee. Hey, another big one for me that has kind of bobbed and ebbed and flowed throughout the years, but always sort of comes back, is Doctor Who. Famous British hyperfixation for many nerdy teenagers. I like Doctor Who. I think especially during peak Doctor Who, it had a wonderful good messages. It was very political. They were saying all kinds of shit, you know. There was a great message about globalism, anti-capitalist. It was great propaganda. And who doesn't want to, you know, run around with a sexy Time Lord? Like, it was just peak. It was just peak. Now, I can't claim that I was into Supernatural or Sherlock, which obviously were the 3 in the trifecta, but Doctor Who, as far as I'm aware, did introduce me to Tumblr, and that was big. This is going in chronological order, and we've currently hit the 2020s, so maybe you're about to find me cringe, but I'm going to stand loud and proud as I say it. The Dream SMP. This is maybe the one that I look back with the most, ooh, but it was the vibe at the time. Nobody had anything else going on. There wasn't anything else to do apart from watch a bunch of people who were actually my age or a little bit older running around on Minecraft reenacting Hamilton, and then they all turned out to be horrible people, but that's unrelated. I had a great time. I had some friends who were into it. We all liked it together. We would all lock in on the streams. Oh my god. MCC, seeing me on a Sunday, that was peak. It was so fun. It was just one of those things where, like, you needed something to bring you together when we were all isolated and everybody seemed to be going through their own individual trauma, completely unrelated to COVID, ironically enough. And that was what it was. I don't regret it. Is it a bad thing that they all turn out to be shitty people? Yeah. But never my goat, Technoblade. He would never do that. He remains unproblematic. After that, I had a brief Hunger Games phase. That was fun. I think that it was one of those ones where I could really appreciate it when I got a little bit older, the nuance to the text. However, I did read the Hunger Games when I was 10, which was maybe certainly a decision of my parents to let me read those, but hey, I had a good time. Once again, it did radicalize me, and I do believe strongly that the Hunger Games will be considered a cult classic in probably about 10, 20 years, as they should. Suzanne Collins, she ate, she devoured. Then I also had a brief Marvel phase. This was in the era of WandaVision and Loki. I had a good time. It wasn't one of my bigger ones, and Marvel has sincerely and absolutely fallen off since. So that's kind of sad. Definitely more of the capitalist vibe in terms of most of these. But I had a good time. Scarlet Witch is still one of the most goated characters ever, and WandaVision is, in my opinion, still a very, very excellent show, despite the fact that it is attached to the Marvel brand, and then they butchered her in Multiverse of Madness. But, you know, you win some, you lose some, you know what I mean? Now we edge into the era of things that I still like. How to Train Your Dragon. This was a tricky hyperfixation because there wasn't any content at the time. This was before the live action, so it was a lot of rewatching Race to the Edge. Now, How to Train Your Dragon remains my favourite film of all time, the second one to be specific, but the whole series is the GOAT. It's like no notes, it is the best thing ever, and as I look around my room right now, I can see at least 12 bits of How to Train Your Dragon merge, so I would say that is a completely justified opinion, and I won't be hearing any notes on it. Thank you very much. Okay, people, we've hit university. This next one is the Stanley Parable. Bit rogue. If you don't know what that is, it is a very niche video game. It's not that niche, actually. But it's basically like office nihilism and existentialism and a parasocial relationship with the main character and the narrator. It was cool. My friend at university introduced it to me. We're still friends. I don't know why I said it like that. And I'd never seen anything like it. I just thought it was really cool. And I thought it had a lot of potential. And I was like, ooh, the aesthetic. It was like Severance before Severance. So the Stanley Parable, I don't regret that. That was pretty peak. I don't think this technically is chronological. I think I was into this before I came to uni, but The Last of Us. The Last of Us is the best game ever. Sorry, hate to say it. Now, maybe one of these days I will be making a video on The Last of Us Season 2, but that would actually involve me having to sit down and make my eyes stay open to watch it. But let's not talk about that. The games, they're peak. They're so fucking good. And if anybody can work out the common thread here between my hyperfixations, I'll give you a clue. It's about daddy issues. The next one is a bit of a rogue one, came out of left field at the end of second year of university. Sonic. Never really was interested in Sonic before, but it hit me like a freight train. And you know why, actually? It was Snapcube. If anybody is locked in on Snapcube, Snapcube is one of the funniest YouTube channels ever. And the Sonic dubs, I had rewatched them maybe 8 or 9 times over the span of about 2 years, and it just hit me. And now, look. I have a little Shadow. And I have a little Sonic. Do I regret this? No. It was really fun. It's very wholesome. And it's actually kind of a chill fandom, so I fuck with the Sonics. I'm excited for the next game. Similarly to the fan dubs, this next one is one that I kind of went in and out of throughout the years. It is the FNAF games, and then when the first FNAF film came out, Michael after just got me. That was pretty fun. I do like revisiting the FNAF lore and getting briefly hyperfixated on it every couple of months. Do I think it's cringe? No. Hate to say it, FNAF actually has potential, and if you want to know my thoughts on FNAF, I have a video about it. I've got this YouTuber thing on. Then moving into third year, we had Percy Jackson, briefly followed up by Greek mythology in general. Now, this was a bit of a late start for me. Most people have this era when they're about 12. I had never read any Percy Jackson books, and I didn't until I was 20 or 21. I don't remember how old I was. One of the two. I had a great time, though. It was great fun. I still have all of the books. I'm currently looking at them right now. They're great books. I had fun. I was Percy Jackson for Halloween that year. I had a fever and I was absolutely just in the club, but that's unrelated. The Greek mythology one was fun as well. I got very interested in the character design of the gods, spent a lot of time playing and failing miserably at Hades, and deep dived on how awful Lore Olympus is. So that was a good time. This next one is maybe one that most people will consider maybe top 3 cringe, even in my own household. Can you believe it? There's ops around every corner, guys. Danganronpa. Danganronpa was introduced to me by the same friend who introduced the Stanley Parable to me, and I was playing and am playing through all 3 games, not UDG, sorry, with 2 of my friends. At the moment, I'm on the 3rd game. If anybody puts spoilers in the comments, I will kill you, and I won't read them. But I'm having a great time. I know that it was considered very cringe in 2020 when it was at its peak, but I kind of missed that. So I'm just having a good time now. Am I excited for the new game, 2x2? Yes. Am I worried about the cesspit that the fandom will become when it is revived? Also, yes. But rounding out 2024, Arcane. Season 2 launched? What am I fucking saying? Like I'm a NASA scientist. It launched! It came out in November 2024, and it was just peak. Like, I know objectively it's not as good as season 1, but it's fine. I don't want to hear about it. It was still fucking peak, and I had a great time. And Arcane, I think it's my favorite show. I can't lie. Like, it is just that bitch. Like, it's just so good. If I was going to suggest to anybody who is watching this video and doesn't know any of the media I've just spoken about, I would probably suggest you watch Arcane. Maybe I'm regretting that choice now looking back at some of the other peak fictions I've had hyperfixations on, but Arcane is just good. And I feel like it has something for everyone. So yeah, it is just amazing. And I greatly enjoy Arcane because I'm sick to the teeth of standard animation. I'm glad that we're having a nice renaissance on more unique styles of animation like that. Into the Spider-Verse, the Puss in Boots Last Wish film, fucking 8. Like, we've got 2 more. I will also say that there are 2 big ones that I haven't mentioned here, and those are just my own work. In 2020 and 2021, I wrote 2 books, and I was hyperfixated on those for 3 years straight, I think. And now I'm also working on a project with my friend, and I have been hyperfixated on that since summer 2024. So if you're noticing big gaps here, that's why. That's what's filling it in. But my 2025 big one was, here's something new, a band. Ooh, 21 Pilots. Now listen, I was an emo kid, I don't know if you can tell. I did have a 21 Pilots phase along with a Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy, MCR, you know, the whole spiel phase in when I was in year 8 to year 10, year 11. I was like a full-blown emo black lipstick, like it's still here, if you can't tell. So this one took me by surprise a little bit when I was sort of re-thrown into their music, but I had a great time. They're still one of my favourite bands, to be honest. And Clancy is one of the most goated albums that I have ever listened to. Hate to say it, but it's true. You think it's cringe, I don't care. Because I've decided cringe culture's dead, and what I say goes. And finally, we've reached the present day. So you might be wondering, Rasheen, you have just listed off so many fantastical medias here. What could you possibly be hyperfixated on at the moment? Here's the answer. It's Resident Evil. Hit me randomly. Some of these ones I kind of see coming. Like, I'm introduced to a media a couple years ago, and then it kind of creeps its way into my life, and suddenly I'm like, okay, I know everything about this one. And then sometimes it just hits me, and I'm like, I have no knowledge on anything to do with this at all. I need to go back, and I need to do my research. You know it's a bad hyperfixation when you start doing research. So I have been watching a 12-hour lore recap on every single Resident Evil game, which was very good. I'll link it in the description if anyone's interested. But I'm having a great time. I think it is as a result of Resident Evil Requiem coming out. But I've started playing the games. I've started with a really random one. I started with Resident Evil 6. Now, I know what you're thinking, but it was the only one they had on CEX. And as we know, I'm a CEX warrior and I take what I can get. And so, as I have decreed, cringe culture, you're dead. You're cut off. I don't think that anybody's interests, unless they're hurting anyone, are cringe at all. Well, maybe I do inside, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to let you do what you want to do and just live your truth, king. So if you feel like putting your niche interest in the comments in a non-judgmental way, I won't judge you. Maybe I will silently, but I'll hit you with one of these. I'll go, yes, Steve, I love that. I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it, but I'm loving that you're loving it. So yeah, those are my thoughts on cringe culture. Let me know. Oh, there's a squirrel in a tree. Oh my goodness, there's 2 squirrels in a tree. Kissing. Let me know what you think down below if you have any thoughts. And if you have any thoughts about my hot take about it red pilling society, because I do actually believe that. I was struck with inspiration on it as I went on a nice walk listening to the Minecraft soundtrack today. So yeah, that's it from me today. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video and I'll see you again soon. Ciao Bellas.